and that doesn't recognize darkness.
Yeah.
So can we say the opposite?
Give me one.
Can we say the opposite is true? Is darkness has its own value and doesn't recognize? Can we say that the opposite of darkness?
Yes. Except that, yes. Darkness is world. When the world was first created, darkness is fundamentally representative of world. Let me elaborate for a moment since we're waiting still here.
Recording.
Recording?
Yeah.
Okay, so we repeat. Darkness is fundamentally representative of world. As we see in the Pasuk and so forth. We said there are many principles that can be, with which world can be described, but they're all included in one included. World is that which comes into being. There's no primary being, primary presence of world. It has to be created. It has to be
It's God's creation.
It's God's creation, but world by definition. Please understand what we are focusing on. Define world. Not where it's coming from. Define that presence. It is a presence that represents something that has come into being. If it came into being, that means that it does not have a fundamental presence. How do you discover that which does not have a fundamental presence? How do you know about it? You discover it by touch, which means it's primarily in the dark. We've spoken many times, and since we discussed yesterday, I hope everybody heard yesterday's class. We speak of light in light terms because we are constantly experiencing it, but we don't realize what we are experiencing. Light, as we spoke many times, is an add-on to the world. The world initially was dark. And then, light is an add-on to world. What is the contrast, the difference between light and dark? Even in the worldly level, is that which you know by touch effectively does not stand for a fundamental presence. Touch means that it affects me. I feel it, that's why it's there. If I didn't feel it, then it's not there. Light brings out in the creation, or brings to the creation, a new perspective. That there is a fundamental reality in the world. Not only functional. You know what functional means? It affects you. It's a reality. This is what we say all the time. That a blind person, Achmon or something, Gemara says, he's spotted from all the mitzvahs. And he doesn't have Yetzer Hara. Which means he doesn't have Yetzer Hara. Why not? How do you eat? How do you monetize? By eating, not by looking. So what is that going to do with anything? And the Gemara says the halacha is you have to put on Shabbos candles. Why? Because without seeing your food, you won't have you can enjoy the food. What does that have to do with the other? And the explanation is, I'd like you to follow this. The Explanation is, enjoyment of food for us, for the human being, is not like for the animal. For us, food is a godly reality. But the Gemara says that a child, a teenager, when is his intellect begin to develop? When he eats grain food. Food is a representative of something fundamental. And this is the first point where our intellect is being triggered, broken up. Which means that we, because of what we are, because of the neshama that we have, and as we explained all the time, the way the neshama has been put into our bodies is different than for the animals, because our neshama has a neshama consciousness in the body, not a body consciousness, but a neshama consciousness. As we put it in very simple terms, which is easy to remember and I can remember. An animal is a living body. A human being is life in a body. It's a totally different definition. Everything that we encounter, we have to be able to see in it life, even though it's in a body. But we look for the life element. The life element means the godly element. The reality. That's the only thing that we can really relate to and enjoy. If we should enjoy food, it's not the taste, the physical experience. That is not what gives us enjoyment. Not enjoyment. Oinek. Without seeing the food. Because what's in seeing? Seeing that immediately reminds us or brings to the fore that this is real. Why is it real? Because I can see it and I can relate to it without ever touching it, without ever coming in contact with it. Which means I recognize that there is a reality, not just functionally how it affects me, but a reality per se, a godly creation. That is the principle of light, which is an add-on to the world. World is supposed to conceal God's presence. Light reveals the godly element in the world. That's why it's a separate creation. Not only is it a separate creation, but it had to be reduced to a subset, because the initial light that was created, that really revealed the godly presence in the world, was too much in a contrast to the world. The world couldn't take it. It couldn't coexist. And therefore that light was concealed, and we have the light from the sun. Light from the sun is, like we explained, is a focused light to reveal, to make us see things. Although there is also the element of daylight, as we explained many times, which is reminiscent of the light Niver B'Yem Rishon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. Daylight and the light of the sun coexist, sort of.
The sun gives out and has that element also. But primarily what we have from the sun is the focused light coming from heat. But there is an element in the sun also that gives that's reminiscent of the original light in Niver B'Yem Rishon. I once mentioned to you that the Ramban in the Chumash says that the light in Niver B'Yem Rishon was then concealed into the sun. So now it makes sense. We have light because there is a luminary. But really that light is independent of the luminary. Just like the neshama in a person is independent of the goof. It does not think through the goof. It tells the goof what there is. And the goof needs to be refined to be sensitive to the neshama. Now I have to attend to your question. The parenthetical comments are longer than the point. It was worth mentioning. I don't remember what we started.
Darkness. You say that darkness doesn't know.
Oh, darkness is fundamental. Yes, darkness is fundamental to world.
Yeah. When we say daylight doesn't know darkness, so can we say that darkness doesn't know light?
That's right. That light is an add-on to the world. And even when the focus light comes, darkness interprets it from a darkness perspective. You follow what I'm saying? Says this is not light. This is a energy that reverberates from the object. It's not real light. That's the only way it can be present in the world. All right. All right, we'll start again from the same line, but now, like yesterday, but now we'll hopefully go further too. And this is 6 lines from the top. Ve-achar tzimtzum memhei. And after the tzimtzum, nisha nakudas horshimu. There remained the nakuda of the rishimu. It's called the point that's called the rishimu. Rishimu means the impression, or the trace, the allusion of what was there before. The nakuda zu, what this nakuda koleles betoicho, incorporates internally inside in it, kol bechinas ha'oir, all aspects of the oil, she is gala b'chol ha'yishtalshalos, that will surface and be revealed in the holy ishtalshalos. As we explained, that before the tzimtzum there could not be world because there was oil in seif, and oil in seif and world do not correlate. Therefore, there had to be a tzimtzum, because world has to be something that's coming into being. Oil in seif does not have that element. Then there was a tzimtzum, and there remained the rishimu. The rishimu includes all the oil that's going to be it's going to come into certain ishtalshalos. The rishimu provides for certain ishtalshalos. Why? Because in the rishimu there is also already the element that everything that you derive therefrom, is a derivative. Is something that you see how it comes from it. Okay. V'hi b'chinas nekuda bilvad. And this rishimu is b'chinas nekuda bilvad. Is merely a nakuda. In other words, this great reality that is contained in this rishimu is contained only in a nakuda. Not in the full glory of Ayin Seif. I would like to go into this expression b'chinas nekuda bilvad, but I don't think we are quite ready for that. But one aspect, nekuda, that we can all relate to is that in every seichel, as much as we can elaborate, we always are looking for what is the point. This point, though it is only a point, this point is really contains representatively of the entire presence. And everything that can be driven from it. So the point why are we looking for a point? I mean, talk about this. Why are we looking for a point? Even though everything that has been said, so to speak, all the whole structure and development of the concept is there. Why are you looking for a point? The point gives it solidity. The point relates it to reality. Everybody knows what a pivot is, center of gravity, right? Everybody knows what that is. So you can have a huge plate, and then you can balance it on the pin of a needle. If you find the center of gravity, it will stand on that point. And will stand, it'll balance out completely. What this means is that even though you have such a huge structure, and this structure seems to be pretty solid and it can stand on its own. The reason it can stand on its own is because it is properly balanced from the perspective of that nakuda. If you build a house, like the Empire State Building, it's a huge structure. We can't even imagine what went into building the Empire State Building. You say, oh, it's solid. It doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. It'll hold on its own because look how solid it is. It will not last any duration of time. If it's not balanced properly against the nakuda of what is the center of its strength, it will not stand.
Interesting.
How does a human being, we always talk a human being stands on 2 feet? He stands on 2 feet because he has a sense of balance in his mind. And God forbid, this is when a person is he doesn't have the proper focus, the mind is not clear, or a weakness, he will not be able to stand. Why? Even though he still has the 2 feet. Because as we said before, what holds him up is his brain. The children used to play. They used to, swing around. It doesn't take long. You swing around a few times, 5 times around, with closed eyes, you'll begin to waggle. Why? You lose firm stand. Why? Because you lost the center of gravity, the sense of what is the center, what you're standing on. It's the brain that senses that is the center that holds up a person, as we spoke many times. So this nakuda, even though it holds up, a human being cannot live on a brain alone. He has everything with him, but there is a center. Everything in the human being is dependent on that brain. But this is B'chinas Nakuda all about. The brain is not able to do anything, not able to pick up this cup, is not able to walk, not able to do anything. But all the koiches are derivatives, are drawn from it. So therefore, this is what he says. He bechinas nekuda belvad. Hainu.
What's the difference between the nekuda and the full expanse of the Ayin Seif in all its glory?
Ayin Seif does not have a point where it's coming from. Just like we say daylight. Where is it coming from? Oishin Nivra B'Yem Rishon did not have a luminary. Where did it come from? We just now explained. Oishin Nivra B'Yem Rishon simply revealed in the world that this is God's world. There's godliness in the world. And that godliness element came from everywhere, because godliness is everywhere. That's the reality. At Ma'amad Har Sinai, when Eden received the Torah, the words of the Aseret HaDibros came to them from everywhere. This was the real Gilui Elokus. Not from one source, from another source. It came from everywhere. Even the term everywhere is already a reduction of the Elokus, because Elokus does not have a where. Nakuda means that his whole reality, the whole presence has been concealed, and it came into a Nakuda. You still have the reality, but it's concealed. You just recognize that everything comes from a point, from a point of reality, from a godly point. When you have, I said in the example, like you have this house standing. You say, oh, it's standing on its own. It's not. There's a nakuda to which it is all focused. That is the real point that holds it all. Still not clear?
No. In other words, that godly reality that's the full expanse is not the thing that's holding it up. In other words, when it's all that is translated into world, the thing that is supporting everything is only in the Nakuda, and it's not the full.
Everything.
Why is it not the full glory?
Because then it would not be a world.
Mm-hmm.
It's drawn from there. You walk because your brain is directing and your feet to walk. If your brain will be walking, let's say if you'd be moving because you want to move, you want to be there, you'll be there. You're not in the world. To be in the world, you have to be. Yes, there's a whole, there's a rotzen and knowing like where you want to be and how you're going to get there. And it's all driven from that nakuda. Let's just go. And that which the Rishimu, that which remained after the Tzimtzum from the Ayin Seif, it is there in an Nakuda only. In other words, here is a point of godly truth, but in point it's completely contained within itself, it's concealed. Hainu, sheklol u'zohir hazeh, Since we say that there's a nakuda, what does it mean? That klolus oir hazeh, that this oir that is represented in this nakuda, overall, ein leitefes mokim klal legabe oir hasof shelifnei hatzimtzum. Is totally insignificant relative to the oir hasof shelifnei hatzimtzum. Okay, we are in very, very fine territory over here. Going back a little bit. Oyer in soif shelifnei hatzimtzum. We said, what's meant oyer in soif? Oyer in soif does not mean it's an accumulation of a lot of pieces and it's infinite. This is not what oyer in soif is. Oyer in soif is the oyer that represents the fundamental truth, mod tradition, that does not have a source. We cannot even begin to relate to that concept with our seichel, not even with chokhmah. We can sense it. It's called the emunah, as we spoke yesterday. But this is not a seichel element, because seichel means that there is me and there's a thing that I know, like the Rambam says, Yedeyon, Yoduon, and Mada. But this is something which does not have any of these denominations. This is the oil source of Neatzimtzum. The Nakuda includes and represents all of that oil, but in a Nakuda. Only in Nakuda. What is the only in a Nakuda? Only in Nakuda, and just as is described in the center of gravity. You have a Nakuda, but from this Nakuda you can build across the entire world. As long as you balance on the Nakuda, you can build. In other words, it represents the entire truth, but it is not. It is not contained. It's not it. And this is what's called a Nakuda bilvat, just merely a Nakuda, which is something which ein tefes mokum klal, which is totally insignificant relative legabe hoyer insoif shelifnei hatzimtzum, relative to the insoif shelifnei hatzimtzum. Well, the insoif shelifnei hatzimtzum is an oyer that does not have the element of coming into being, does not have, so to speak, a source. It is the oyer insoif itself. Whereas this Nakuda does point to a source. This is where it's coming from. This is what it represents. Yeah.
It's late, but the only thing I would say is if maybe we could explain tomorrow how that fits into the mashal of the mashpia and the Talmud. And the mashpia is...
Today is Thursday, isn't it?
Oh, tonight, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get back to that.
Tomorrow, tonight.
Today's Thursday.
Right.
After, yeah, the same thing.
Okay.
All right. All to